Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, too. And Spence is here.
Hold on, I'm still adjusting my dial to tune you in. Wait, what? There it is.
Yeah,
okay,
there
good.
it is. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
Move the mouse.
Move the mouse. Why? Where's the mouse? Oh, it's on.
Mhm.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that was my biggest pet peeve when I was in school. A teacher would be like, all right, let's watch a video and pull it up. And they would have to leave the mouse in the middle of the damn screen. It's like, what are you doing? Move the damn mouse.
That they wouldn't do full screen first.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they wouldn't do full screen. Then they do full screen. They'd leave the damn mouse in the middle. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it's
Not doing
working.
full screen. It's
never realized that. I never realized that it's not working with vMix, the show and hide cursor.
Oh.
Interesting.
And what about people who watch on the phone but only
Half
on the top?
Uh-huh.
It's less than half. It's like it's a third of the screen.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is like
Rotate it.
put it
Yeah.
like this.
I watch some video. I watch videos like that.
I watch videos like that when I'm only interested in the audio. I'm fine.
Correct.
Right? But I see them watching and watching and watching. So if this is like you're passively watching something, right, and you are facing this, you're not reading comments, you're not doing anything, just switch it to the sides. At least see something.
It's only allowable like when you're in YouTube and you're watching something and you turn it back to vertical and you slide that down to the bottom and it's an even smaller window, right? The one that's got the little X but you're still scrolling through looking for something else to watch while that's playing.
Exactly.
It's tiny, it's so small, it's like a 3/4 of an inch across the video.
I find it funny that that's the default. I mean, the new applications, they sort of change the habits, like a TikTok, right? Which is now probably the most popular video platform. It is full screen and it is for the lengths. And you see the overlay is written over the video if you want content in addition to the actual video. And they just flip through the videos. But it's like everybody's with that small bar at the top and it's not as if they follow the content. But yeah.
So, what else is happening?
We narrowly averted global destruction.
We always, every night.
We've survived every day, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. That's part of life to avoid.
That's it.
Wait. What did James Bond save us again from?
We were right there at the brink, and he stepped in at the last second and pushed the right button, and we're okay.
So what about TikTok?
What about them? What does the news say?
Employees of TikTok are suing the government. saying
For-
that the executive order, whatever, is going to prevent their employer from paying them. I don't know. There's a lawsuit.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess a lawyer was saying, yeah, that's what you can sue for. But it's interesting. The employees in the United States. I'm sorry. The article was talking about U.S. employees of TikTok, which apparently they have. That's,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. And nothing happened with Microsoft yet, huh? Buying it. There was another article I saw that said, "Will Twitter outbid Microsoft?"
Oh
That's
boy.
yeah,
Sounds like whoever owns TikTok is gonna make a lot of money.
yeah. And they are building it up.
Yeah.
And this is a story from that I didn't get to last week, so it's maybe a little bit older now. A massive attack has hit Reddit today. That was 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
After at least tens of Reddit channels, subreddits have been hacked and defaced to show messages in support of Donald Trump re-election campaign. And that came from ZDNet. And I heard Nick making a comment one day, I think it was on Against the Norm. And it made a lot of sense. It said, why do people worry about the elections? Why are people trying to do anything? I mean, Biden apparently is leading by double digit over Trump. So why are people worried about this? Why do they have to promote Trump and do something against Biden and all that?
It has nothing to do with people. It has to do with the system around election.
It's just that they
About
have
all the money that is being spent. Come on.
Yeah. It's
It's
an economy.
never about the candidates.
Yeah.
Right? There are people who that is their job, right? And if they do not make noise, then they do not exist. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
I
There's
remember having a run-in with a consultant at a university one time where they did a study, and everything we did actually did a very good job. And he told me afterwards, when he basically trashed us, he says, well, I had to come up with something to validate my own existence. I had to basically make something up.
It's definitely an interesting situation with what is going out there, and every 4 years we have to go through it, and we said, okay, it's over, and then you wait. Every time it comes earlier and earlier. But hey,
I remember visiting Australia back I guess it was 99, the first time I went there. And the people that I met there who just happened to be talking about elections. And they said their whole election season, and I might get the number wrong, the whole thing starts and is over in 6 weeks.
That's the way it should be.
There is no like 1 year or more election cycle. It just, they have their, however they choose their candidates, they campaign for 5 weeks, and then they have the election. So they're spared all the craziness.
There's a very current movie. It came out this year by Jon Stewart called Irresistible. And it talks exactly, the movie deals exactly about that, about campaigning and these consultant, right, that push the candidates and try to sell them as a product. And it also has a nice twist at the end, and I think he manages to do it in a non-partisan way. I mean, even though he's dealing with the Democratic and Republican candidate and all that, it's I think it's an excellent commentary about this question of why is everybody pushing in this direction and that direction? What are they afraid of, right? and it's never about what they're afraid of. It's they're afraid about their livelihood mostly.
One amazing thing about polling is that usually polls tighten up at the end, because if you're the pollster who was off by 20 points, your credibility gets blown up. So that leads you to believe that there's a lot more to polling than just actually getting information. So that towards the end, it tightens up, because they have to be close in order to be considered worthwhile the next time around. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I got polled this week.
Yeah, Pam answered a call for the poll.
Oh wait, so you were the 80-year-old woman from Wilmington?
That's it.
In the poll?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, interesting.
And by the way, no wonder people don't answer polls. I was on the phone with the guy for like 11 freaking minutes.
We had actually somebody canvass stopped by the house. A young man stopped and canvassed.
What was he canvassing?
For Trump.
Yeah, that's what I did. When? This weekend?
It was Saturday. And
was he handing out a judge
I
card?
didn't answer, but Pam answered. But he came to the door and he was very polite. He says, "I'm just here to ask 4 questions, and it's fine if you don't want to talk to me. I'll thank you. Have a nice day."
That's what I did on Friday. Yeah, we were asking about judges. So we asked about Trump, and then the Tillis, Paul Newby.
They asked about Tillis. Yeah, and but he was probably 22.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I knocked probably 70 doors on Friday.
Any bad reactions?
No, surprisingly not. Normally, yes. On Friday, no. A couple of people that weren't interested, but nobody was a jerk.
Good.
So,
I think people generally, face to face, they tend not to be jerks.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
No, I'm sure there are a few. I'm not saying. But
I think you're right. I think a lot of people, it's when they're in a crowd that they get reason or empowered by the crowd.
When they can hide online, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the code for the Facebook page, because apparently I got it wrong in there, and everything changed in Facebook.
The app, the page,
the long number, but the thing is that there is no more edit the post there.
Yeah, they made it better, Amnon. Come on.
Yeah, right.
I used the AccuWeather app on my phone, and I really liked the old app. And they changed it. The features are still there, but it looks completely different. And they don't have. What I really liked was they had a slider bar for 3 different days, and you could pick precipitation, temperature, and whatever the other one was. Might have been not. Or whatever it was. And you could just run your finger across the slider and it would show you things would change, and it would be a bar graph of probabilities. And it was like a one stop to see what you wanted to know. And now the new app, it's hidden. You can't find it. They don't show you that anymore. So it's kind of frustrating. We made it better. You'll love it. No.
Yeah. All right, I'm getting frustrated here. Never mind.
Just delete the account. Come on.
Yeah. I'm tempted. So here's another, from PC side of things. The Register reports that Toshiba has transferred its remaining shares of Dynabook to Sharp, thus ending the company's time as a PC vendor. As the 2000s roll along, Toshiba devices became bland in comparison to the always impressive ThinkPad and the MacBook Air, while Dell and HP also improved. Toshiba also never really tried to capture consumers' imaginations, which didn't help growth. As the PC market contracted and Lenovo, Dell, and HP came to dominate PC sales in the 2010s, Toshiba just became a less likely brand to put on a laptop shopping list. By 2018, the company saw the writing on the wall and sold its PC business unit to Sharp for a pittance, just $36 million changed hands.
Sharp isn't exactly known for
Well,
PCs either.
But they retained a 19.9% share in the company with an option in Sharp's favor to buy that stock. Sharp quickly renamed the business to Dynabook, a product name Toshiba had used in Japan, and set about releasing new models and reviving the brand, which brings us to June 30th, 2020, when Sharp exercised its option to acquire the 19.9% of Dynabook shares it did not already own. So Tuesday of last week, Toshiba transferred those shares and announced the transaction on Thursday. There is no more Toshiba laptop computers.
That was
PCs.
my very first laptop PC.
Hmm.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I had an IBM diskette drive based
Yeah.
laptop, if you want to call it that. It was that convertible. That was the very first one I ever
Right.
had. But as a technician, when I started working for Synoptics, all the SEs, we got two machines. We got a Mac for our desktop, and we got PCs because we had to run a console. We had to go out and download microcode and update firmware and all that stuff. You couldn't do it with the Mac, and Mac sales guys had Mac laptops, but we had Quadras. We had desktops just to do all administrative stuff. Was all on Mac, but I had a Toshiba. What was the original screen? It was color, but it was kind of a weird
RGB.
Well, it was kind of the color resolution wasn't great, and it was kind of
CGA?
ghosty looking. But that was the
CGA?
first. It was a co. No, it was an LCD, but it was a very early LCD, and it was the quality was okay, but
It was probably just
later-
8 or 16-bit. It probably just didn't have.
yeah,
a
but it was a different technology.
What
the way it
was
worked.
what was the first TVs? They were not the thin ones.
CRTs.
No.
Well, plasma?
Plasma. Is that what you're talking
Oh.
about?
No, it wasn't plasma, but it was just a really kind of crappy early version of LCDs. But, they got much better as time went on, obviously.
But color LCD?
Yeah, it was color, but it was very, very faded and just. But it worked. I mean, it didn't.
Yeah.
I remember getting my first gigabit hard drive. I upgraded it myself. It came with like a 600 something meg drive. And I got to the point where I had enough PowerPoints that I was running out of disk space. So I actually bought and switched over to a 1 gigabit drive, 2.5-inch drive. And how happy I was. Oh, I have so much extra space.
Hey, it was big.
Yeah.
Come on.
I had 3 Toshiba laptops. I really liked their laptops in the mid 2000s.
Didn't we use a Toshiba laptop for the show, for the streaming in the beginning? Wasn't there an old Toshiba that you had that we used?
I have a couple of Toshibas. I had a couple of Toshibas, but I don't know what we used back then.
I
couldn't
think
tell
it
you.
was. I think it was a Toshiba.
They were really nice, and like when
Yeah.
Windows 7 and Vista, they were nice.
Vista.
Vista.
Remember that, Amnon? Remember you used to say Vista?
Vista. Who used to say that?
Mark Ishman.
Marcus.
Yeah.
Vista.
Yeah. He was one of the hosts on the show. He was an internet lawyer. Really
Yeah.
nice guy. But he would say, instead of Vista, he'd say Vista.
Vista.
Oh, hasta la vista. That's how you say it, right? Yeah. I saw him.
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
not
him
an
show
English
up on
word, that's
Facebook
true.
recently. Yeah. Hope he's doing okay.
All right. Let's see what else is going on in this world of ours. That's a good one for Sunday morning. Brown Foreman. You know the name? Brown Foreman. Okay. A manufacturer of alcoholic beverages, including Jack Daniels and Finlandia, said it was hit by a cyber attack in which some information, including employee data, may have been impacted. The company, which is based in Louisville, Kentucky, said in a statement it was able to prevent its systems from being encrypted, which is normally caused by a ransom attack. It provided few other details about the incident, including when it happened or how the hackers accessed the data. We're working closely with law enforcement as well as world-class third-party data security experts to mitigate and resolve the situation as soon as possible. There are no active negotiations. They're not negotiating with the attackers. I don't know what they're going to negotiate if they did not get encrypted, but I was wondering what the attackers asked in return. How many bottles? They're probably playing the big party somewhere, and they say, "We need alcohol, so let's go after this company." It's just it's interesting. Nobody is spared from that. No one.
Nobody know how.
Yep. And Google, I mean, if you got Chrome, Google has tried on and off for years to hide full URLs in Chrome's address bar. Because apparently long web addresses are scary and evil. Despite the public backlash that came after every previous attempt, Google is pressing on with new plans to hide all parts of web addresses except the domain name in Chrome 86. This time accompanied by an admittedly hover animation. The new look builds upon the animationless hover revert. The new look builds upon the animation-less hover reversal that's already in testing. But in contrast to that method, the improved variant also displays the protocol and the subdomain, which remain invisible in the older version. That's achieved with the neat sliding animation that moved over the visible part of the URL. I mean, at this point, we're going to have to watch the address bar more than we watch the content of the page if we're trying to see.
Here's the funny thing about this. They claim that they are doing this to combat phishing. How? Because the address bar, because the domain name will be really visible, they're thinking that this will help combat phishing? I do agree. Most people don't look at the address bar like we do, right?
Right.
And so it's probably not that relevant. But they are now hiding whether it's HTTP or HTTPS. That infuriates me, right? I do get that they want people to focus on the domain name.
Right. Why?
Why? Because of phishing, because of the way phishing works today, right? Which somebody buys a domain, I don't know, facebook.com dot blah, blah, blah dot blue, right? Or something, right? And so phishing, if they do that and they only show the domain name, yes, it makes some sense that
it'll be easier to differentiate,
to identify that you're in the right site. Yeah. That part I agree, but they also took out. Remember, they had like green marks and gray shaded. They took that out. So where are the? It's not clear. Like if they are thinking of doing something and they're getting backlash every time, instead of forcing something on people, have an open discussion. I don't know, something. Try a bunch of things with extensions, see what works with people. But it's like something isn't right in the process that they're going through. I don't know.
Right. It's not right. It's sort of like, what were you talking about before, Spence? The programmers there are trying to justify their existence, and they're trying to come up with
consultants trying to justify their existence. You
Just
get
come up-
hired to inspect something, you'll always find something wrong because you're paid to find something wrong.
No.
Nobody comes back and says we couldn't find anything wrong. So
there's a story about Apple, but I saw a nice caricature. Well, what do you call it? An ad like this week that the guy goes, "Hey Siri, look at my bank account balance and tell me which Apple products I can buy." And Siri comes back and she said, "Apple juice."
good. Good.
Siri. So Apple is readying a series of bundles that will let customers subscribe to several of the company's digital services at a lower monthly price. The bundles, dubbed Apple One, inside the Cupertino, California-based technology giant, are planned to launch as early as October alongside the next iPhone line. Already a new iPhone is coming out. The people there said, the bundles are designed to encourage customers to subscribe to more Apple services, which will generate more recurring revenue. There will be different tiers, according to the people there who asked not to be identified, discussing private
A lot of
plans.
tears.
Huh?
A lot of tears.
Yeah, a lot of tears. Oh. A basic package will include Apple Music and Apple TV Plus, while a more expensive variation will have those two services and the Apple Arcade gaming services. The next tier will add Apple News Plus, followed by a pricier bundle with extra iCloud storage for files and photos. Apple's plans and the structure of the bundles may change, but the goal is to offer groups of services at lower price. I don't know how it's lower price and they're talking about generating more.
Well, lower than, lower than 1,000 is 999, right? So
Well, it will charge if consumers subscribe to each offering individually. I for one, never heard of Apple Arcade gaming services. Nick, did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little gaming
All
service.
right. Apple News Plus.
sounds like streaming, right? Like game streaming?
No, it's not game streaming. It's just you pay a yearly subscription to it,
Oh,
and you get access to a whole bunch of paid games. Yeah,
Oh.
it's called like something arcade.
Yeah, I think they have something for Google similar on the Android ecosystem.
So they are in a way, what they're doing here is they reintroducing their customers or other people to services that they have that they may have not heard about. And you say, "Oh, Apple Arcade gaming, yeah, let me check this out." So
I guess they're looking at their annuity business and saying we could be doing better since we may not be selling as much hardware.
Yeah, there was. I didn't save this story. You mentioning this. There was a story that said that if WeChat is removed from iOS, that will hurt their sales of iPhones big time. I don't understand what WeChat is. Who owns WeChat,
Henson.
and why is this so important for Apple to have WeChat in?
Because everybody in China uses WeChat. So if it's banned, then nobody in China will buy iPhone.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It's like WhatsApp is really strong in Europe and India, and WeChat is in China.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody uses WeChat.
Right.
What'd you say, God? What'd you ask?
iMessage over here. It's like if you'll say, if there was an equivalent for iMessage in Android, for example, right? I'm guessing that would hurt Apple as well. But if they suddenly get some sort of court order saying they either remove iMessage from iPhone by default, and they must supply iMessage on other platforms, right? It'll hurt them as well. Anything that has to do with an exclusive list of users that you're either including or excluding from your system. It's practically the reason that Facebook bought WhatsApp in the past, right? They want access to that user base. And once they lose that, they're in trouble.
So is TikTok also going to hurt one company or another, or everybody? I mean, I guess everybody.
I don't think TikTok is that big yet. TikTok is a new fad, right? It's the new fashion. It is growing really, really, really fast. It is Facebook in its, first 3 years, okay? But let's say this. What would happen if Facebook is banned from a specific platform like iPhone, right? iPhone now are not allowed. Android are allowed, but iPhone are not allowed to
go on Facebook.
Have Facebook pre-packaged in their sales. Will that affect them? I'm guessing it might. I don't know what the impact would be, but definitely it will affect in some way.
Okay.
But when they're talking about banning, they're probably talking about banning from the App Store completely.
Yeah,
right?
They're probably banning from the US. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have 300 million active users. So, I mean, a lot of people using it.
Yeah.
Well, interesting times. They are coming, huh?
Coming?
Yes.
Well,
they're already here.
Yeah. There was it's a long article. I'll try and cut it. It's interesting. It says the ad features a GIF of a person wearing a Fitbit style wristband with the text "Eliminate craving." Across the frame from their hand sits a giant slice of cake. As the person reaches toward the cake, the wristband turns red and zaps them with electricity. You can tell it's zapping them because the whole frame vibrates and little lightning bolts shoot out of the wristband. Like an old school Batman movie. All that's missing is the animated pow. So the writer says, at first I thought it must be either a joke or a metaphor. Nope. Turns out the Pavlok is
Pavlovian. Pavlok?
Pavlok. That's what they is exactly what the ad suggests. A Bluetooth connected wearable wristband that uses accelerometers, a connected app, and a snap circuit to shock its user with 450 volts of electricity when they do something. There is your generator, Nick.
Nice.
Just put a slice of cake in front of it and it will keep you powered up. Undesirable. No. So it shocks them with 450 volts when they do something undesirable. It's not just for a slice of bread. I mean, a slice of cake. The device costs $149.99 and is available on Amazon. The company said it has over 100,000 customers who use the device to help with craving, quit smoking, and stop touching their face. So it's an anti-COVID thing. And he says, I immediately saw two fundamental truths at the exact same time. First, the mere existence of an automated self-flagellation wristband is proof that we've reached peak wearables. And second, this is a perfect device for our times. Pavlok's founder, and I guess it's the company, Gal, Pavlok. P-A-V-L-O-K.
I'm in the site. Yeah.
Okay. Says he came up with the idea for the company after paying an assistant to slap him every time he went on Facebook. Paying an assistant to slap him every time. Though through a Chrome extension, it can also doom. And it says doom scroll. I don't know what doom scrollers are, but doom scrollers rejoice. It can also automatically punish actions like spending too much time on Facebook, Twitter, and other potentially time-wasting websites. It can zap you when you open too many Chrome tabs. A use case I'd love to recommend to several programmer friends. But perhaps the most relevant feature for today's world is the ability to program the device to shock you every time you touch your face. This is something which humans do alarmingly often, up to 16 times per hour. The practice has been implicated in spreading coronavirus, at least contaminating face masks and leading to waste PPE. They also found bizarre, but it's just the logical extension of an overall trend toward using tech to tweak and prod our brains into new ways of thinking. Pavlok acts as a metaphorical stick to these apps, carrots, giving you the option to beat your brains into submission instead of just tweaking it. And it goes in 2016, Mark Cuban called Pavlok everything but a legitimate product in what was probably one of the least success Shark Tank appearances ever. But Medium reporter seems convinced it is the appropriate response to the moment in time. I only need to look at Twitter to feel that I'm being jolted awake with a powerful electrical shock. It's sort of like something that somebody needs to give away to people.
Well,
get a life. Here, get a life.
And it's not that. I think, first of all, I think it's a very novel product,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
There is a lot here, but it is also, this is like a first step, another huge step towards the Matrix, right? It's like, so now we are sort of controlling why it will shock us, right? And how to reprogram us. Now, do that and hook it up to everything that talked about how Facebook and Twitter are affecting public opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and combine that too, you get a very, very sorted apocalyptic future. So, but yeah, it's there's also one more aspect that the article doesn't even touch, and once if this becomes a popular product,
Mhm.
right, then it will also lose its effect. And I think that's something that people need to
Yeah.
take into account, right? So I'll use an example that we all know: the notifications that we get on the phones, right?
Right.
When all we had was one source of notification on the phone, then a notification would actually mean something
Mhm.
important, right? But once we get blasted with notifications throughout the day, I don't know about you, but
We don't pay
I
attention.
ignore
Yeah.
most of them,
Right.
right?
Right.
Even if one of them is important,
Mhm.
and so I might miss it. So I'm thinking it is a novel idea, and it's nice that there's a way of. So probably the most important thing to take from it is they found a way of detecting you touching your face, for example.
Yeah.
And yeah, but a notification on the phone will probably be as effective as that buzz. They're saying a shock. I do not see in any of the spiel. They're talking about feedback, but it's not like pain, right? We're not talking about pain. We're talking about some sort of vibration or some sort of.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 450
So,
volts
yeah,
doesn't need to kill you. Doesn't mean that it's going to kill you.
I started sleep tracking about probably 10 years ago. And the first alarm clock that I bought, it was before even before smartwatches and stuff like that. So I bought an alarm clock that you have a wristband, and so the wristband was only a sensor.
Mhm.
It lasted for like 2 years or something like that. And so the alarm clock would trigger based on your sleep cycle. And I can definitely say that the first 3 months, probably maybe even 6 months, I got much better at, sleeping better and waking up easier. But today, I still use these sleep apps. They're still better for me than just waking up with an alarm, a regular alarm.
Mhm.
But it doesn't make things. The body just goes back to its old habits. So it's still hard to wake up, even though it's waking me up at the optimal point and all of that. So it's anything that has to do with biofeedback. It's excellent as a novel idea, as a new experience. But once the body gets used to that, right, then that new experience goes out the window.
Yeah. There was, I mean, if you have a hard time waking up, um, you can do it easy now. It's on Plex. If you watch Mr. Bean, Mr.
Okay.
Bean had a thing where the clock goes off and the water
yeah.
being poured on his foot, and I mean all kind of things were happening to wake him up, and he won't wake up.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
My
Hey,
favorite Mr. Bean is when he changes his clothes in the car
Yep.
while he's still driving the car. It's great.
The break.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. He's good. He's good.
Yeah. The one where he goes into the department store at Christmas time and he's looking at the Christmas lights and he unplugs it to look at it. The whole outside of the store goes dark.
He says, got to make sure it works.
You gotta make sure it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
All right. Spence, are you ready for specials?
I am ready for specials. Boy, are we special
Boy,
today.
I'm ready too.
You ready? So today I thought we typically go looking for bargains, right?
Right.
Why don't we go and look at stuff that's so outrageously priced we'll probably never buy it? So today's edition is the Budget Breaker Technology Edition. Experts say, why spend less for better when you can spend more? I remember kind of being enlightened. This is a number of years ago when I was reading an article about shopping on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills and how people would go into a store there and buy something that they could buy at another store for half the price, meaning like if it was $5,000 in the other store, it'd be $10,000 on Rodeo Drive. And they would buy it on Rodeo Drive just because it was the place they bought it at. Price didn't matter.
Yeah, I think it's still
And I was
happening.
like, you got to be kidding me. But people will do it because, I bought it on Rodeo Drive.
Yeah.
It's never
Okay,
about how
well-
much you paid for it. It's about where you bought it.
When we're done with the special, remind me. I have a story about overpriced furniture.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay.
All right. So the first item is probably the most expensive in the whole specials today. This is called the XF1Q4 150MP camera system. And
It's a
it
nice
is
short name.
Yeah, medium format. And if anybody's familiar with medium format, that means it's a 120 film size format that's typically used for portraits. If you were a portrait photographer back in the day of film, you would own a Hasselblad or something like that, a really nice. You'd look down through an image at the top of the camera, and it would go through a prism, and you'd look out the front. Really good cameras. But this is like that, although I think you do have imaging from the top option. But so astonishingly good images, 151 megapixels, right? Damn. All right. Heaps of detail, tank-like robustness, clear interface against, that was the 4, against autofocus is frustrating. Slow startup.
Must be running Windows.
Autofocus is frustrating for $50,000. Autofocus needs to be perfect for $50,000. But I mean, I guess the point of a portrait camera is you're not
Does
going to
it come
use.
with the lenses?
Well, this $50,000 system is including the lenses. The body itself goes for about $12,000. So
one thing
lenses.
though, is it 50,000 or is it like 50,952.24 cents?
The article that I read was a year old,
Amazing.
so I can't tell if this is but to buy this camera, you have to make an appointment to buy it, to get a demo of it. Like, wow. You go to the store that sells it. You have to make an appointment.
Who puts it out?
Phase One, the name of the company.
All right.
I mean, there's a lot more detail you can get on it, but it's
You
like
don't have a
super,
phone number,
super.
do you?
They wouldn't accept a call from me. I'm not on the list. So don't worry about that.
All right.
But they said the image quality is just absolutely astounding.
Yeah, I wonder what's the size of the file that comes out.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to have a RAID. Like, Gal, can you build them a RAID so they can take a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 terabyte RAID.
How much RAM they need just to show the image on screen?
I don't know. I can't imagine. So are there hidden costs of the $50,000?
So about 15 years ago, Microsoft came up with an image format. I think they called it a Dragonfly, where you can theoretically contain unlimited numbers of pixels in the file. And it's like the idea is the file will contain layered information where you can zoom in and zoom out.
Ooh.
So you could create like an image the size of our globe, right? And you will still be able to manipulate and work with it. Yeah. So
you don't have to open the whole thing, which is nice.
Yeah. So even though it's like scrolling through a video file, right? Something like that, right? That's the part.
Neat. Well, they take these pictures and there may be other options. I can't imagine with 151 megapixels trying to save a JPEG or a GIF, but it takes it's in RAW. I mean, so this is meant to be edited. So it's going to be a gigantic RAW file.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so the memory is for one picture only?
It could be. Let's go to the wedding. I took a picture. I got to go home and save it. I'll come back.
You have to be real good. You have to take one and that's it.
I think it has Wi-Fi built in. So it would probably work with one of those
Yeah, and you
systems that
wait an
professional
hour for
cameras
it
have.
to
Every
upload the
hour, yeah.
image.
You
Come
can
on.
imagine? For whatever
That is
reason, this is a
ridiculous.
bad idea. So,
Yeah.
okay. So our next one, this is the runner-up for most expensive. Well, actually, there are. I take that back. The most expensive television I've ever seen. This is a year old. Keep in mind, the price could have come down, but this is the current price on Amazon. LG Signature OLED Alexa built-in Z9 88-inch 8K Ultra Smart OLED TV. $29,996.09. No, it's 4 cents cheaper than 30,000. And easy financing terms. Zero interest. $24.99.75 a month for 12 months. $2,400. That's easily fine. That's in everybody's
easily,
budget, right?
Yeah.
Interest free.
It's less than the mortgage, no? It's ridiculous.
Oh my God, this is crazy. I would guess. I mean, where do you find 8K content?
You think that's crazy? I get the 5-star rating, 8 ratings of 5-star on it. That's what I find crazy.
Well, it's only 8 people can afford it.
Yeah, and those 8 people, they want to make sure nobody calls them a fool, so it's 5 stars.
That's right. I wrote one review for Amazon one time on a product it was literally an audio patch cable that sold for $1,700, and it was nothing special about it. It was a mistake. I mean, it was put out there for the price. It was never corrected. So what people would do is they would write reviews.
Yeah.
And we did for fun. And I wrote a review,
a
funny review. I said, anytime I think of having, needing this, I go right to this cable, and I wrote it, and they accepted it, and it's still out there. It's so much fun. And other people wrote the same crazy, I was on the space station and I needed a cable for this. And so this is the one I ordered, just crazy stuff like that.
I ordered it Prime.
Yeah, Prime, and it delivered in, the next time the Dragon came up, it delivered. All right. So now this probably is not ridiculous for a soundbar, but it claims to be like one of the best soundbars out there. Now, the problem with soundbars for me is I'm already missing parts of my hearing, so a soundbar is not going to make up for it. I know that. It's going to make it sound better, but it's going to be so loud and so crazy. But this is a $2,500 soundbar, but it has immersive 3D sound, 13 high-end drivers. So incredible, right? And this is not
right. I know the specs looks
fantastic. I mean, but it would be lost on me.
I wouldn't pay to 2,500, but I'll definitely, it's definitely something to put a goal when the price goes down.
It's like, soundbars are amazing now. What they can do with spatial sound, and you can have one location and you can hear it all around the room. It's incredible.
Yes.
But I can't, like I said, I can't take advantage. For me to appreciate this, I have to turn it up louder than most people in the room would be comfortable for. So, oh well. All right.
You
so
buy them earplugs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Put muffs on all their ears so they can listen normally. All right. This is actually for Nick. This is the Alienware 55-inch OLED gaming monitor. And this
there you go, Nick. There you go.
$3,039 for a monitor.
And Alienware, they called Amnon. They want us to review this, so
yes.
You're getting one.
We need 4 of them. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Alan was asking how many HDMI inputs on the TV. There are none. S video.
It's telepathic.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. So you can get the soundbar for $92 a month financing.
And look at this, you're saving $1,000 on this monitor.
So everybody needs a robot, right? And you can buy, and this is famous, the Boston Dynamics, what looks like the dog. You can buy it. It can be due, and its main application, believe it or not, is industrial, because people use it for industrial applications, like to send it into a hostile environment or to whatever, for whatever reason.
Right.
But you can buy one of these, Spot, the nimble robot. The base price for the Explorer, this is the one this is the pre-configured model. Once you go above the Explorer, then you have to configure it, and the price, you have to get a quote, because it includes all kinds of other stuff. So you buy the base Explorer robot, is $74,500. Then, just to add LiDAR, which is a form of
radar
mapping technology, right? It's used. It's a special.
It's based on light.
It's based on light. It's a special. Like you can go into a room and map a room.
Yeah.
And give you the dimensions of the room. It's very
it's what
good.
The new Roombas do.
Yeah, it's an amazing technology. Just the LiDAR attachment is $18,450. Awareness. This is a spot cam for color panoramic communication capability. I don't know what they'd use it for, but sounds cool. $21,800 for that feature. The Edge GPU, if you're going to be doing a lot of onboard computations, if you're absorbing massive amounts of visual data, you need this GPU to process it. $24,500.
Looks like a Raspberry Pi.
It's probably exactly that what it is, but yeah.
And if you want to add an Ethernet port, it's $1,275.
But that port never failed.
What if this thing falls in water? I mean, this is great. This is great. I want one just to play around with. I've seen this before, like in documentaries and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah.
But okay. This next one, this is actually available on Amazon. It's just actually pretty cool. It's a professional 360 3D camera used for. There's lots of different applications for it, but the point is, it's you can buy a 3D camera, a couple $100, right? Maybe, that are low end, will do the job. But this is a professional one used by cinematographers or for virtual reality providers who are filming environments, and just really good high definition filming, right? But it comes with all these different tools. It comes with the little. It's already got a built-in network. The small device you see there is the recording media. The next one up with the screen is the control media, and then you actually got the actual camera itself. But really cool. I was reading about what it was used for, but this is $5,000. Insta360 Pro.
What I see is a device that's looking at you and smiling and saying, "I'm daring you to buy me. Look at it. It's just
yeah.
Get me.
Yeah, pretty cool. Oh man, I mean, these other things have some practical application, but this is purely an extravagance. A smartwatch, tag your smartwatch, diamond.
Just read the description. I think that's enough.
$197,000. They took the $1,600 smartwatch and embellished it with $195,000 worth of diamonds. So
amazing.
195 and 400.
400. That's right. 195, 400. Damn. Well, some people have the money. Do you guys remember a movie called The Producers with Zero Mostel?
Mm-hmm.
Great movie. It became a play. It became a Broadway play. But the original movie was a movie by Mel Brooks. And Zero Mostel one day is in his crappy apartment looking out the window, and some woman, a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce limousine pulls up, and this lady walks out the door with her. She's got her poodle and her other, and gets in the car, and he yells out the window, "If you got it, flaunt it." And this is what this is. If you got it, you flaunt it. You buy the $200,000 watch. But who would notice it? I mean, any of my friends would look at it and think it was fake. They would never believe it was real. I have a good friend who actually bought on the street in Manhattan, bought a fake Rolex just for fun. It was like $25. And it looks sort of close to, if you're under close scrutiny, you could tell it wasn't. But from a distance, you would think it was a Rolex.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. This is for you, Amnon.
Yeah.
This is a HDMI cable that costs $1,094.75.
See, that what makes it real. The price.
The price makes it so much better. I'm telling you. That's all there is to it. And it's AudioQuest Diamond 1 meter braided. And why? Why is it that much money? Do they put diamonds in it? It's just crazy. What could possibly make it that much better? But people buy it. Oh, I got the best cable I could find.
Well, I'll tell you. The copper, right, is really, really is non. How do you call it?
Oxidizing.
No, it's completely ethical. In it's
it was mined. It was mined in a
in our backyard
by a union.
We had to
by
do
a
it. We're
union
white
worker.
people, and we had it's very, very important, the source.
The copper all came from recycling centers where it was
and
purified,
and it's probably it's probably hand braided too.
It's hand braided using recycled materials.
Yeah.
Okay. You remind me something. Back in the Navy, in the Israeli Navy, I was a tech, right? And I was so I joined the Navy mid-90s, and the technology that I was working on was designed beginning of the 80s, basically. And the Israeli Navy, it's not a huge Navy like the US one. And so literally these systems were handmade. Mm-hmm. There's like the electronics card, they had some PCB printing on them, but most of them were just
soldered
like
on by
wire twisted
hand. Yeah.
manually in the background, right? It's like, and there were like 18, I don't know, units of that card in the entire Navy. And you would think when you're talking about electronics, I don't think handmade is a plus.
No, it's not.
That way.
Hold, we need a replacement. Hang on. Give me a month.
Exactly.
I'll get right
so
on.
definitely cost like that. And it's definitely, if it's handmade, it's definitely the same quality.
Yeah. Oh, I was at IBM when they were still data centers were filled with DASD and controllers that had the backplanes or the planar boards were all wire wrap.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
we would go in. But we needed to make a change, and they were multi-layer boards. I forget how many layers there were. And you would go in and you'd use what they call the gross delete tool. If you wanted to break a connection, you'd go in and basically have a drill that was hollow in the center and drill through all the land, all the different layers to kill off that signal. And then you'd rewire it using a special tool that would twist new wires onto the posts.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So, yeah,
that was incredible. All right. This next one is a stock car racing simulator. State-of-the-art simulator provides the most realistic stock car racing experience available. And you can see a picture of what it looks like. It's built on a movable platform. You sit inside this thing. It's got a high-definition screen. It's got pedals, the whole thing, right?
It looks like those things you would see at malls. You buy a $10 ride. Yeah.
Yep. Where you get to, it feels like you're being driving on the track. $45,000 for this thing, the simulator. And I don't remember. I don't remember what catalog this was. This might be.
Do you think you can play Forza on this?
Yeah, notice they don't offer financing on this one.
If it was a Ford, I would have bought it.
Yeah, get that Chevy thing out of here. What model Chevy is that on? Man?
I have no idea.
I remember.
It looks like the one from Allen's movie, Sleeper.
I remember how disappointed I was when I learned at some age, as a young person, that the cars that they used in NASCAR were not the actual cars that they represented. They were a fiberglass or a body based on that car. but the car itself was a special built NASCAR. It wasn't a true like stock car racing used to be stock cars.
Yeah,
The
no.
way they came off the, they would soup them up a little bit. But NASCAR, what I was like, really? That's not the car? Oh, it's a fiberglass shell of
Yep.
what the car looks like. So there isn't really a Toyota racing against a Chevy. It just isn't. And the engine components might be from those companies, but the other stuff is all strictly controlled as to how the car is built. It's amazing.
This one here looks like it could be a hover thing. It's got a
Maybe that's
cushion
what
at
it
the
does.
bottom.
Maybe it just wanders around the room, bouncing into stuff. All right, the next one. For those of you who are looking for you have lakefront property and you have time on your hands and some money, the barbecue dining boat. You can get 10 people on this thing. It's got a grill, it's got a cooler, it's got comfortable seating, it's got a little motor on it. You can tootle around. 6 compartments beneath the ABSC store food and supplies for an all-day cookout. I think I'd go nuts. How can you stay? Are people okay with you having to pee off the side of this thing? If you're out there all day? Seriously.
Close friends. Honey, get up. I want to get a glass.
You better have some planned stops somewhere. You're out there drinking on this thing. Oh my gosh. But it's pretty funny. $50,000.
Somebody thought about it.
Ooh,
Somebody did. Yep, that's right.
danger, Will
And
Robinson.
finally, this is great. The genuine Lost in Space B9 robot, right?
How
Six
can
and a
it be
half feet
genuine?
high. What's that?
How can it be genuine?
Well, yeah, it's not.
It's not from the movie set.
It's based
somebody wrote the ad copy for this. I guess they were stretching it. But it's actually the original robot comes from a very famous movie. Does anybody know the movie?
Yeah, it's a 50s movie,
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet.
I actually have
Fantastic
that
movie.
movie poster on my wall in my office.
I watched the movie about 3-4 years ago. It's still a very
it is
good
amazing.
movie.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
It had,
the fact that it's a bit slow, but it's still. I mean, it's such a template for everything that we've seen afterwards, which
and
is
the color, the cinematography in it, the special effects for the early 50s are unbelievable. Yeah, it's great. If you haven't ever seen it, Forbidden Planet, Walter Pidgeon and Leslie Nielsen, and a famous young woman actress, Anne something or other. I'll remember her now. I can't remember her name, but excellent. But that's the origination on that. In that movie, it was called Robbie
it's the
the
same.
Robot.
It's the same robot. Yeah,
The same robot. But this is 6.5-foot animatronic remote control version of B9 environmental control robot from Lost in Space, the one that ran from 65 to 68. If you haven't watched the new Netflix Lost in Space, it's actually a great family show. It can be a little dark, but the point is it's something safe to watch with the kids, and it's an interesting show, exciting, based on the original
and it's a
series.
nice twist on it.
It's a nice twist, yes. The new robot, it's a whole different idea behind the new robot. There's a lot of good family values in it. It's well done, and I think they're coming back for another season. They've had 2 seasons. I'm pretty sure it's coming back.
I think they were successful. Yeah,
it was
good.
it. So it says, actually, original robot is faithfully produced from the original archival molds, patterns, and blueprints. Made fiberglass, acrylic, aluminum, steel parts. Rotating horizontal flashing light, animated air sensor claw. Or I hope it has a remote, like you can talk and have your voice come out of the. That would be amazing. Only $18,500. So that's a bargain, right?
Compared to most of the stuff you showed us.
Well, that's not the cheapest thing today, but I think it's the most interesting thing at the lowest price.
All right.
Yeah, and that's it for our budget breaker specials today for
Budget breaker.
August 16th, 2020. You were going to tell us a story.
So I heard this probably this week. There's a Twitter phenomenon called QAnon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a source or like a channel, like a Twitter account that people follow, and it's this like oracle-like conspiracy theory generator that people attach to it and find meaning in it. And it actually gets some news coverage in the past because of some celebrities following it and quoting like doomsday type conspiracy theories out of it. One of the theories that's running or was recently like a fad had to do with Wayfair. You know Wayfair, the online store, the online furniture store. So apparently there were a few really high-priced industrial style furniture items, all having like some sort of girl name as the model name, right? A Kathy desk drawer, something that looks really, really plain. And if you look in Wayfair's site, you'll probably find other instances with the same photograph with like a very, very cheap price, like I don't know, anything between 100 and 300. But these entries will be like $15,000, $20,000, etc. And through the community following this QAnon thing, they started developing a theory on Reddit and all of those forum sites where these high-priced furniture items were actually code name for human trafficking.
Yeah, to basically get a date or to buy that person or
like
or
so person, to buy that person you transfer them. Wayfair is a marketplace exactly like Amazon and etc. They deal with shipping like Amazon, but they also can have the shipping done directly by the seller, right? So the theory was that whoever was using Wayfair was using and maybe Wayfair was on the
was it the
involved in the
CEO?
conspiracy.
Didn't the CEO of Wayfair resign? Was that the company where the guy resigned because of child pornography? It was a high visibility company. I don't know if it was Wayfair, but a guy recently resigned because they found child pornography on his computer.
Okay, this part I don't know.
I think that might have been what. I'll look it up. I think it was the case.
So what I found interesting was this a very elaborate idea, which I doubt it has any merit in reality, but I think it can be awesome for like an FBI type investigation movie, right? Where you are using this benign site to conduct your money transfer around human trafficking. It just seems to me the reason it doesn't seem legit is it's too easily trackable, right? And so it'll break the moment it starts. It's not like something that, and so that's why it's just an idea. But it's when you started showing the high prices, I thought we can launder money that way.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, apparently there was a story out about the Wayfair CEO stepping down after sex trafficking. Well, I can't. They claim that he didn't step down, and they claim that the sex trafficking conspiracy.
So I'm guessing that what you read was sourced somehow by the rumors created by that community.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And so that some sort of like fake news article, right? Clickbait article that would say he stepped down, even though that didn't happen or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember when they were showing the people who were commenting on the forums about this whole thing about how and that if you know anything about the whole Q movement, it's there's a lot of weird stuff out there too. But they do encourage people to do research, and sometimes the research is not what I would call bona fide. So,
You're talking
a
about
lot
the
of-
QAnon stuff?
yeah, there's a lot of good things have surfaced there, but at the same, like anything else, it's just only as good as the
Didn't Pizzagate start there?
probably, or it took off there. I don't know.
Well, Pizzagate is a search hit in the QAnon Wikipedia page, so probably.
Yeah, the Reddit site, one of the main Q Reddit sites, has been shut down or taken over by the administrators of Reddit. So they started a new one on their own.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another interesting article. With classic Hangouts on the way out, Google last week has 2 video calling apps. However, that is one too many for the company. And sources familiar with the matter tell us that Google Duo will eventually be replaced by Meet. This decision
Surprise,
is
surprise.
the what?
Surprise, surprise.
Uh,
It doesn't make sense, right? The
Yeah,
fact
what-
that they have 3 different
Right.
platforms right now. So, and Duo
Absolutely.
and Meet came out, what, a year apart? Maybe 2 years?
So how does that relate to Google Classroom?
Oh,
Or
no.
is that
Google
is
Classroom
that based on? Does it use the technology from Meet or from Hangouts or whatever to build on top of that to build the classroom experience? Because I know several schools now are standardizing on Google Classroom. I don't know.
It uses.
I wonder what the engine is. I'm looking up at
So
the engine now.
it says Google Classroom Calendar and Hangouts Meet. So is it Hangouts
Yeah, there is.
or is it?
No, there is Hangouts Meet, which is a version of Hangouts. Yeah. But the thing is,
And what is Meet?
Meet is what
It's
you
a
get out
real-time
of
meetings by Google. It's
No,
a
MEET.
it's probably got a scheduling and invitation engine built into it. Google Meet,
Yeah, Google
It's
Meet
a-
is
video communication service by Google, one of the apps that constitute a replacement for Google Hangouts.
well, it's supposed to be a Zoom competitor.
Yes,
Versus
more
Hangouts
like
versus Hangouts.
having the business hooks that it needs to do.
And it says that, like Duo, it's now free for everyone to use and going after the same market. With all the focus on Meet, the new messaging chief opted to have the service become Google's one video calling service for both regular and enterprise customers.
Yeah, it looks
Internally,
like
this
Meet is what they called Hangout Meet.
Yeah.
Before, yeah.
Hangout Meet is like you get that
Yeah,
deer and
exactly.
you dress it and you hang it on a hook outside. Hang the meat.
Remember Soylent Green when she buys meat? Like that.
That's it.
Like
Says
a
this
steak
is-
hanging out from the fridge.
I know several people in financial planning and accounting who use Microsoft Teams and love it, and also like the online meetings. But you have to have a team license to use the meetings. It's not free. You can trial
Well,
it.
I can
but
tell
can't-
you, I use Teams. I love Teams. I hate their video side.
But the one thing that the guy was trying to sell me on so I could get an Office 365 license was to use it for remote support. And I have not, I've had meetings with them using it, but I've never used it for remote desktop. So
It's okay.
What do you
There
hate
are
about?
better.
What do you hate?
It does
about
one
it?
really cool thing. It puts 2 cursors on the screen.
Really?
Any desk does
So-
it as well.
Yeah. So Spence, if I said, hey Spence, I need help setting up this email client, and we got on a Teams meeting, and I shared my screen to you and gave you control, I would see your mouse. It shows as it'll say like.
but you also have a mouse.
I do. So you can
that's
like
cool.
It is very cool. I'd never seen that before. It's pretty neat.
I've used a Team Viewer, and I've used what's the other one that's a free one that I use a lot?
AnyDesk.
Arrow Admin.
Oh, Arrow Admin. I've got the best one. The best one's DW Service. Open source. DWService.net. But not for support, more for remote control of your own systems.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teams is cool. And it comes with 365, which Office 365 for an individual is like $11 a month or something like that.
Yeah,
It's pretty
like
inexpensive.
$120 a year.
Yeah. So
I just haven't justified. I'm still using Office 2007.
I mean, I have an Office. I think I bought Office 2019 or something like that for pretty good deal.
I have Office 2012 on this machine, even though this is not the one I use for work. I should probably switch the licenses.
Yeah. This is I have Pro Plus 2019.
Check your licenses. Sometimes most times a license for Microsoft means you can install it on 3 machines.
Not for this Office. It's for one.
Okay.
Yeah, that started after like 2007.
Yeah, if it's the personal version of Office 365, I think it's 5 devices,
Yeah.
including
I think the
tablets.
Pro as well.
Is Teams part of it though?
Teams is free. The application itself.
Yes, but is the Teams licensing part of Office 365 personal?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know.
Because why would you want to because that's if you're an individual, why would you want a whole Teams instance for yourself?
Well,
because I'm a team player.
You know how Teams work. Teams in the backplane it's just SharePoint.
Right.
So
like
right, I
else,
think that's enterprise only.
Office 365 personal. Let us take a look at Office 365 personal.
I mean, with the way that things are going in the world today, when
it is not on here.
So what do people do if they need to working from home and you need to interact with your coworkers or anybody that you support? Do you have to get the enterprise version for yourself?
It depends. If you work in a business that has 365, which a majority of businesses do,
right,
then you have Teams. If you don't have Teams, if you don't have 365, there's other services, the most popular one being Slack, which are free. So I mean there's different ways to communicate.
Well, this little story I'm looking at here says that for small businesses with 1 or 2 computers being used daily, Office 365 Personal is a great option. Now,
but it does not include Teams.
Yeah.
Enterprise for home, none of the home versions do. For business, which by the way, you can get a business license for just one person. So and it's $12.50 a month for Microsoft 365 Business Standard. That comes with Teams, SharePoint, and Exchange.
It says Office 365
Teams add-on licenses. They have something called Microsoft Teams add-on licenses.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a page now. It says Office 365 Business Basic, formerly Business Essentials, is $5 a month with an annual commitment and includes online meetings and video conferencing for up to 250 users.
It does, but it does not include any downloadable
Teams.
versions of Outlook, Word, Excel,
okay.
PowerPoint.
Right.
Yeah.
50 gig mailbox, a hub for teamwork to connect to Microsoft Teams, access versions of Office.
Hold on.
So if you don't need an Outlook, if you don't need Office licenses, that's a good good
web
pick.
versions.
No,
of the
you
software
can
only.
you can buy an on-prem. You can buy a 2019 license.
Yeah.
Right, which is one time, and then just pay the $5 a month for the subscription for Teams.
Yeah.
And you still get all the benefits, the OneDrive synchronization and all of that. So
it's pretty good though. $12.50 a month for if you used it a lot, for obviously for business, that's not crazy.
For a business, no, I mean, I think a business would be able to measure their productivity and say this is a good ROI, right?
Yeah, but a single individual, I mean, if you're doing a whole bunch of those, that would probably make sense. If you're not, I mean,
no, it's just me. I mean,
but that would mean that the other side, that the other person would need to register a Microsoft account, and so there's the setup to start just a video conversation with the other side, right? Because it's Teams based.
Oh, yeah.
Make it more cumbersome, as opposed to something that is built for remote support, which you just type a code and a password.
Yeah, that's why I like the the lightweight versions of AeroAdmin and TeamViewer I can't use anymore because I don't have any. I don't use it. Once in a while, I have personal use that I can use it for free, but I'm not risking getting in trouble with them by using it, saying it's personal when it's not.
Right.
AnyDesk, does that work as well, or has the same restrictions?
Which one?
AnyDesk.
AnyDesk. I tried that too, but the one that I find easy enough that I can send a link out and people can use it without actually installing it is AeroAdmin. It's pretty close to TeamViewer. Maybe not as good, but it's good enough. So, and they have a free for use, free even for business use if it's on a one-to-one level.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So I built a little antenna yesterday. Built a little 2 meter quarter wave 2 meter antenna, which I thought came out pretty well. Just using some regular about a
cool.
50-foot spool of 12 gauge wire from
and the
Home
12 gauge
Depot.
wire stands up fine like that, straight?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Wow.
So I bought. I'm gonna, when this breaks, which it inevitably will, I'm gonna switch it out with I think they're called blazing rods for welding.
Yeah, that's stiffer. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah, and it's solid. So I'll switch that out eventually. But yeah, I just bought a 50-foot spool of 12, shielded 12 gauge. I stripped it and soldered the center conductor to this connector, and then the 4 radials are they go through nuts and bolts and connect to the sleeve of the coax connector, and yeah, came out really well. Like $15 worth of materials, which was cool. So 10-foot piece of PVC on the fence, put a hole in the siding, ran my cable through.
Did you get permission from the homeowners association to put a hole in your siding?
Yeah, I did. When I bought the house, there was no HOA. That was my permission from the homeowners association. Yep. I was very particular about not having an HOA, and that is precisely why.
Yeah, and it works. Permission to take out trees.
And the storm that came by at about 3:00 this morning did not take it down, so that's good.
Yeah, and it didn't even bend the rod.
No, it didn't. I just went out. I looked earlier, and it's still up. So
when I moved to my house in the Hudson Valley, it had a 50-foot antenna on the top of the roof, 50-foot mast with a rotor antenna on the top. And the hardest thing was taking it down because it was guy wire connected.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I wound up bending one of my gutters because there was just no easy way to get it. It was they make antenna masts. It would just be a pipe within a pipe within a pipe.
Right.
And you'd slide it up and you'd lock it in, and you'd slide up the next one, lock it in. That's how it was built. But by the time I took it down, I couldn't do that anymore. It was just rusted solid. And I wound up basically cutting one of the wires and going, timber, and it fell over. No. Had the antenna that was on it, on the rotor, I think the antenna itself, gosh, it was probably 12 to 15 feet long. Huge.
I know, Arnie, I need to study for my general. I've got the book. Now I have a good excuse to get a general license. I'll upgrade my license now.
All right.
I had visions of getting my Class 1 FCC license back when I was in high school. I worked in an educational TV studio, and that was the goal for. I got my 3rd class, and that's as far as I ever got. I wanted to be a broadcast engineer.
So AT&T's Warner Media Division is planning to lay off hundreds of employees in AT&T's latest cost-cutting move. That's from Ars Technica.
Cord cutting, you mean?
What?
You said cost cutting. I said cord cutting.
It's the cord cutting, cost cutting.
Warner Brothers is expected to commence layoffs of around 650 people starting Monday, according to people familiar with the matter, while HBO is seen shedding between 150 and 175 staffers. Yeah, it's cost cutting because of cord cutting.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's CCCC.
That's good. And
CCBCC.
Gal,
CCBCC.
Yeah.
I got the Raspberry Pi stuff yesterday.
Oh, nice.
It's neat stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And what are you
They're
building
super
with it?
cool.
I'm
We're
replacing.
replacing. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
The
replacing.
Plex?
Yeah, that server that I'm using for Plex it's an 1100 watt power supply.
Whoa.
It is. I mean, it's generating a lot of heat, and it's also using a lot of power.
That's like running a hairdryer constantly.
So I'm using the same server, right?
Yeah.
And I have it hooked to like a smart plug that tells me how much wattage
Yeah.
it's consuming.
I never did that.
370 watt
Really?
tops. That's its max. It goes down, but
And that's with
Yeah.
the storage?
So why all
yeah,
that
yeah.
heat?
The fans probably. And remember, these are all Xeons. These are not
Yeah.
I generation CPUs. And as you said, there's a lot of memory components, and they're old.
They're
So
old.
it's an old system. It's an old system. So probably a lot more heat than modern system.
Well, I've got the 1.4 K UPS,
Yeah.
and I have Kathy's machine plugged into it, which is the XW8400 or something like that, 4800. It's a dual.
Yeah.
Not
It
Xeon.
needs- it-
Not Xeon.
No,
It's a
UPS.
P4.
You're right.
And
Yeah.
the UPS will not last but so long, and I don't want to have to get another one. And I mean, when I open the kitchen door and go into the porch,
I remember. Yeah.
oh boy, it's hot in there.
Yeah, but think about the winter.
I know. In the winter, it'll be nice. Yeah. But it's, yeah, so.
And you can always use it as a toaster.
So yeah, Gal was telling me, he said, well, you can just use a Raspberry Pi. And
I just set my Pi back up as a workstation at my ham radio desk behind me. Which it's
Awesome.
a great. I mean, they're not the fastest devices. I have an older one. I think I have a 3B or something like that.
Okay.
So it's a little slow, but it's perfect.
yeah,
And
we'll
I found
see.
and the cool thing about the Raspberry Pi is there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's lots of distros specifically for certain uses. So I found a distro called Ham Pi, which is a funny name. And this guy prepackaged like 70 applications into the OS. So I just burned it, and I've got all of the apps and whatnot, which is super cool. So no
Nice.
configurations or anything. You just boot it up, or burn it onto a micro SD card
Right.
or a mini SD card, whatever the small little one is that fits in like an Android phone. And bada bing, you're up and running.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because
When
I
you
was
have
going to put a
something like
Windows machine there, but then Amnon was talking about the heat with his, and I thought the same thing. Like, okay, I can, not that it adds that much heat, a little desktop, but it's nicer to be able to run a Pi, which draws 5 watts, versus a Windows computer that is going to just sit here and spin and just noisy.
Yep.
So it takes up a whole hell of a lot more room.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, talk about how you're using it.
I'm actually going to build it and mount it into a mini tower case.
Mhm.
So it has more air circulation, and it's there. It's a computer. It's not just a weird thing sitting somewhere. I mean, I guess I'm old school. I want to see a tower.
Why don't you drill a hole in the side of your freezer and put it in
Yeah,
the
I could
freezer?
do that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just run the cable in.
But yeah, I thought that I can mount the drives in the bays and with cables into the controller, but you can't. It one thing builds on the other like layers. So
Yeah, and the reason is because the controller for the drive that you bought,
Mhm.
we found that was the best fit.
Yeah.
The thing is, drives hook up to the Pi via USB.
Mhm.
There's no SATA connection, so you need some sort of SATA adapter via the USB connector.
Right.
And so there's always some sort of compromise in the design, but it is solid. I've even seen this week I've read there's like a build blog, and this guy builds multi-core clusters with he had a build with one with eight
Pies?
machines and
Wow.
one with 64 machines. So
Sheesh.
it was really interesting. Yeah.
So we'll see how it behaves. But yeah, that's the. I just wanted to mention. Yeah, I got it and took a look at it. I said, "Wow, that looks really." It's the first time I have my hands on one. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Nick about it yesterday. I had an interesting situation Friday night that talk about anxiety. The beginning of the week, I got a notice from Time Warner, not Time Warner, Spectrum. Thanks. That my bill is available and it is $74.99. The first thing that
after
came
you disconnected from them.
after I disconnected from TV. No, I'm not disconnected from them. I mean, internet.
Oh,
still.
right. You have only internet. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing that came to mind, $74.95. That's what they told me it was for the 300, but I upgraded to 400. So then I went and looked at the notice that I got right after the conversion, the change of service, what they call it, and they said it was going to be $84 a month. Then the email said $74.95. When I went online to look at my bill and it was $79.95. I said, what's going on here? I mean, three different things, three different prices. And I said, and I every time I was testing, it was 300. I mean, the speed did not change. So I called them on Monday and talked to billing and said, I've got a feeling something fell between the cracks here. I want to know what speed I have. And she said, you have 400. And yeah, the reason why it's now this month is 74 is because there were a couple of days that you were still
Not
on
the
the old
complete
system and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I'm not getting 400. She said, well, I can connect you to support. And this was like around 9 in the evening. So got somebody that sounded like he knew what he was talking about, went, looked at the modem and everything and said, oh, I see a problem. I said, what? He said, you have the Surfboard 6140 modem
on your end.
Yeah. And that is only good up to 300 megabits, even though the box says 600. He said, you have 8.
That's because of the way they provision the network. The box is capable, but they just don't provision it. So the channels are
right. He was saying that that modem is 8 by 4. It's 8 down and 4 up.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And he said, what you need is 16 down and 4 up, because the up speed is not changing. He said, but you might as well get a 32 down and 4 up, or 16 or 8 up, whatever. What?
Well, I'll go ahead. Never mind. It's okay.
So he said you can go to the office and they will actually give you one because we don't charge for them anymore. So you can go and tell them that you want the modem that will go with the 400. I said okay. I don't think much about what they give you, although I'm gonna go and get one just for the heck of it. I went online and I searched for 32 by 8. Came up with the surfboard 6190 and read a little about it, and they said people saying they're using it. So I said okay, and I went and looked for one on eBay and found a refurbished one for $40. I said, hey, deal. I ordered it. I got it Friday afternoon. So Friday evening, I'm calling them to find out how long it takes to switch it over, to provision it and make sure everything is working. She said, oh, it's just a few seconds. She said, you have it already installed? I said, no. She said, give me the MAC address. So I read it to her, and I'm sitting there doing stuff. 5 minutes later, she says, so did you install it? I said, no. I didn't hear you saying install it. She said, oh, we could have been sitting here for a week. I said, okay, here. So I installed it. And it took forever to come up. But it finally came up.
That's because it was doing new firmware updates.
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what I
so it came up, but I couldn't go anywhere. So I said, yep, it's up. The lights look right, but it's not, I can't go anywhere. And she said, let me reboot it again. So she rebooted it.
Did you reboot the router too?
I did not do anything to the router at that point. I mean, I was following what she's telling me to do. So when it came up, I could connect to one of my servers via SSH, but I couldn't go anywhere on the internet. So I said, you know what? Let me reboot the router too. How about it? She said, yeah, that's a good idea. I said, I hope it doesn't disconnect us because this is voice over IP. So I gave her the cell number and rebooted, and it was fine because that's not the router that I use for the voice. I use the Uverse for the phone. And it didn't do anything. So I said, you know what? I think I need to reboot everything, the switch, the router, and the modem. She said, go ahead. So I did, and of course it disconnected us. So she called me right away on the cell. And it came up, I mean, much quicker, but it still was longer than what the old one, the 6140 was. It came up, and I could get to certain sites. I could only connect to one of my servers, not to the others. And I said, something is still wrong. And as I was talking, I could go to Delta Force suddenly. And it seems like it was getting better by the minute.
What DNS were they handing you as part of the DHCP to the from the modem to the router?
I did not look at the DNS because I didn't care about it, because my DNS said look at 8.8.8.8 and 192.168.0.254, which is the router.
Right.
So the router and the modem were still talking, and it did not change my IP address. I was impressed. So it started getting better, and finally I got to the point where, I could click and it's fine. So I said, everything is working. Thanks. She said, well, one thing worked out good today.
What was
10 minutes later, the modem is rebooting. And again, I can't get here, I can't get there, so I waited, and it's not. So I went ahead and rebooted it again, and I could get places. I did a speed test, and I'm getting 30 and 40 down. And I'm still getting 20-some up. So I said, maybe I looked at it wrong. Maybe the 30 or 40 is actually 300 and 400. Let me take a look at the gauge again. So I went there. No, I went to other places, and that's what it was. So I said, well, there's definitely a problem here. I was going to call her and say, let's put the old one back in, because I thought maybe something is wrong with the modem. I came here because it was saying no internet access, but after I rebooted the computer, it had internet access. So I came in here and I fired up the computer here and it said no internet access. So I rebooted the machine and actually turned off the power to the whole thing and turned it back on. And there was internet access. I did the speed test on this machine and I got 370 some. Said, oh, it's working. Went back into the other machine, which is this one here is an 8th generation i7. The one in my office that I'm using is a dual Xeon, one of the older ones. No, it was still like 30 and 40. I said, well, there's something wrong here. Let's wait until tomorrow morning and see what happens. Well, yesterday morning, I got up, I did a speed test. Oh, it's getting 305, 290. But it's more than what it was. So I figured, yep, it's fine. But the anxiety on Friday night, thinking, because I do some backups from the servers over here to a computer too. So it's probably not going to back up. And I'm going to have a lot of problems. And the TV didn't work. Kathy comes in and said, is the internet down? And, oh yeah, Gal, you need to tell me how to change the network, the gateway in either in Plex or in Roku. I can see what it is, but there's nowhere that I could find where to change it to a different gateway. Because what I want to do is I want to put it on Uverse, and that's a different IP address. But anyway,
you don't need to do anything. It's supposed to automatically detect that.
No. But remember, I have two gateways. I have the gateway for Time Warner.
We can change the routing table on the Linux OS.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, everything is working okay now. It doesn't seem like it's any faster, but it pops up faster. So it's okay. It is what it is. I'm going to get a modem from them, instead of buying another one, because I always like to have a backup modem.
The one you got, was it refurbished or just used?
Refurbished. Yeah, it came with all the films on it. It was refurbished by Aris.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why are you going to get a backup of their modem? Just use
no.
modem.
I'm getting their modem instead of buying another one, just as a backup.
Why? Yeah, but you have a backup. It's
I
just
don't.
slower. Yes, you do.
Oh yeah, I have the 6140.
Yeah. So who cares?
That's true. But why? If they give it to you, take it.
I guess.
I'm going to try and see.
You just have to keep track of it, though, because if...
Exactly.
Yeah.
What?
You have to return it. Yeah.
Oh, well.
You'll need to return it, or one day they'll start deciding to charge it, right? It's like...
And you can provision it yourself. If you have the Spectrum app on your phone, you can go in and you can enter the details.
The weird thing is that they did not ask me. They did ask in the beginning, but the price went down and everything, and I still have the DVR box and the extra digital adapter that we were using in the other room, and it's still sitting there. I need to go to the store and return it. I have no use for it, but it's like they're not asking for it. It's
I think
weird.
A lot of that stuff gets written off.
I have no idea.
At some point, they may eventually come for it, but
well. So yeah, that was my experience. So changing a modem is not. It's not as easy as you would think that it's provisioned, just plug it in and everything. You're right. I didn't think about it getting a firmware update. The weird thing, the main difference between them is that the old one was flashing green until it turned blue right away. The two middle ones will turn blue. This one, the blue lights were flashing, and then stay on. So I thought something was wrong, but apparently maybe that's the way that the 6190 works. But
They bought a cheaper LED.
So yeah, it's that's my experience with Spectrum.
Spectrum, that's like they're like a company, a big company, right?
Mom and pop
Hi.
startup.
But I have to report that everything works great with that cord cutting endeavor.
Awesome.
Kathy is used to how to use it. That the remote works very nice. Still can't turn it off, but it's no big deal because it stays on all the time, so it doesn't matter. But it's it's you're beginning to find all the tricks of how to do something, how to record. I want to record it now, so you don't need to go to the guide. You can just click and go left, and say record, and it'll record from then on. It's there's a lot of good things there, and she's not complaining, and that's the main thing. That's the greatest thing. No complaints from the wife means everything is working.
Awesome.
Yep. All right. Anything else from anybody? Come on. No, huh?
You're going to buy us lunch today?
Sure. Well, why are you smiling?
No, just I just thought I'd throw that out there. Could you just give us your credit card number now over the air, and we'll go out and have lunch on you.
Uh-huh. Sure.
1, 2, 3,
yeah,
4.
4070. Isn't that Visa or MasterCard?
I just posted it in QAnon.
Good. Yes.
QAnon.
QAnon, yeah.
That's it. Hey, a new movement.
Yep. All right. Well, so I guess that's it for today.
Did you know that there's a place in Bladen County called AMMON?
Amman.
Amman.
Yeah, there's
Amman,
some
North
streets here that Amman.
Yeah, it's in Bladen County, middle of nowhere.
It's a southern.
I thought it was in Jordan.
Amman, yeah.
I'm sure there's another one in Jordan too.
Yeah, AMMON. A lot of people, when they write me, that's how they write.
Yeah.
Amman. All right.
Goodbye.
So thanks, Nick. And thanks, Gal. And thanks you, Spence. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dina, Arlette. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 7, Nick does his Against the Norm show at atnshow.com. If you're in Wilmington, you can listen to it hopefully on 106.7 Big Talker, Wilmington Big Talker, FM 106.7. Until next week, see ya.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.